The MVD Marquee collection brings to Blu-ray 1991's The Linguini Incident, starring Rosanna Arquette, David Bowie, Marlee Matlin, Buck Henry, Andre Gregory, and Esther Balint. It's an independent film directed by Richard Shepard that I remember seeing on this video store shelf, and I never knew what to make of it. I never saw it until this release came out, and it was like it's a bunch of faces, and they're screaming, and it's like drawings of faces that are like emerging and sticking out of like a bowl of spaghetti or apparently linguini, and I was just like, no. So finally, it was forced upon me, and it is one of the joys of doing this review gig, in being able to see things that I've always remember seeing on the video store shelf and just never got around to watching. So this film, in English 2.0 and English with English subtitles, there's a 2.5-minute director intro that kind of sets up what the deal is with this movie and a little bit of the history of the movie. It's 93 minutes. The original was 98 minutes. Basically, Richard Shepard comes on and he says he always wished he was young. He didn't really know what he was doing when he made the movie, and he always wished he could take another crack at it to make it a better movie, and that's what he does with this. So certain scenes are tightened up, certain insert shots are added, some stock shots are added to try to just give the film a better sense of it being taking place in New York City, because it takes place in New York City, but it was actually predominantly shot in LA on a soundstage in this crazy large restaurant, Art Deco or Dali-esque, I guess, restaurant with strange costumes on the waitresses and strange art, and it looks very much like the New York 1991 art world aesthetically. So basic story goes a little something like this. Rosanna Arquette is like a performance artist, or she's a escape artist. Houdini is her hero, and she works at this oddball restaurant that's run by two oddball guys portrayed by Andre Gregory and Buck Henry. And the staff doesn't really like the restaurant. They don't get paid enough. But David Bowie is the new bartender, who's like a compulsive liar but very charismatic, and wants to basically marry somebody to get a green card so he can stay in the U.S., and he sets his sights on Rosanna Arquette. Marlee Matlin is the concierge, the hostess with an interpreter next to her. She's very good and very funny in the film. Everybody in the film is good. And the story here is basically that Rosanna Arquette and Bowie decide they're going to rob this restaurant in order to have money for him to get a green card and get married, and for her to be able to go off and pursue her dream of being an escape artist. So very strange, very quirky film. It's a comedy, but I didn't find it funny. That's the problem. Again, performances in this are good. Bowie looks great. Everybody looks great. It's really well shot. It just didn't work for me writing-wise, unfortunately. It didn't work for me. I didn't find it funny. I found it more grating. The early 90s isms and the New York isms I found kind of grating, and it just really was not a movie for me. I know this movie has a following. I know the following is going to love this edition of that movie and the voluminous extras that are on here. The director talks about how it's been a cult hit at screenings, and it played a lot on cable and all that. So this is the film that he always wished it could be. It does include the original version as an extra. It does come from a videotape source in standard def, so it looks like if you rented the tape and popped it in, that's what this would look like. So it is cool to have both versions of the film. If you're a fan, if you really like this version of it, you can watch the original and see how it differs. There's another 5 minutes of content in there. And if you really don't like this version of it, maybe you can give the other version a shot, and maybe you'll like that more. So extras on here include a commentary with director Richard Shepard, a second commentary with director Richard Shepard, actors Rosanna Arquette and Esther Balint, co-producers Sarah Jackson and co-screenwriter Tamar Brott, moderated by Serial at Midnight's Heath Holland, who always does a great job. The film audio, unfortunately, is kind of high in the mix on this, and I found it really hard to understand what people were saying sometimes, because it's like if somebody else was talking at the same time as me right now, and it was almost at the same volume level. You kind of have to struggle to hear what the participants are saying sometimes if they're not speaking up. Odd choice. I don't know if that's going to get corrected for future versions or not, but just something to be aware of, that you kind of have to struggle a little bit to hear the commentary. Usually the audio is pretty low on a commentary, where it's there enough to kind of understand what's going on screen, but it doesn't really need to be up. So it was kind of odd that this one was done that way. There's the making of the Linguini incident. That's 104 minutes. That is a new featurette. It's a new feature featuring interviews with pretty much the entire principal cast and crew who are alive. That's very interesting. As much as I didn't really care for the film, I still found the story behind its making and the struggles to get it made very interesting. And there's funny things, or in retrospect, funny things said about the producer of the film and how desperate and upset the director was with how the producer handled the film. There is the original theatrical cut, as I mentioned, it's 98 minutes, 4:3 standard def. There's a photo gallery, it's 6 minutes with a director voiceover. There is the new 2024 theatrical trailer that's 2 minutes. There's the original theatrical trailer that's 2 minutes. And then there are trailers for other similar films put out by the MVD product line with Delirious, Mr. Jealousy, A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, Highball, Zeroville, and Art School Confidential. The packaging on this is nice. So the packaging really up front and center, the packaging that probably the film always should have had, not people's faces screaming out of a plate of linguini. Lovely shot of the two leads front and back there. You take the slipcase and slip it to reveal pretty much identically the same thing. Crack her open, and we get nice, again, that nice shot of the leads on there. We get a booklet with writing on the film, I'll show you in a second, and we get an alternate cover. Not the video store cover, because, well, maybe it's too bad that the video cut stubber isn't in there, but it's really nothing that really is going to sell the movie. So the booklet is rather substantial, not that you can do a page count from that. And we have David Bowie and the Linguini Incident by Graham Rinaldi, with some photos from the film. We get Take Two by Richard Shepard, the director and co-writer of the film, with some more behind-the-scenes photos in there, his account of the making of the film, and that's that. So really nice package for a film that, if you love it, this is how you want to own it now, on Blu-ray from the MVD Marquee collection.